Well, a warm welcome along then to our latest focus on this weekend's matches, and we're going to focus in particular on the clash at the Emirates Stadium on Sunday. It's Arsenal against Bournemouth. James will be fighting the corner of Arsenal, and Simon believes that Bournemouth will come out on top in this one. Let's start off then by looking at the match odds and who's going to come out on top in this game. James, Arsenal's home record, pretty good, you have to say, and they'll fancy the chances of picking up a big 3 points here in the battle for the top four, or maybe even the top six come the end of the season. Yeah, potentially, but I think Arsenal, rightly so, they're around 1-2 to get the win here, so they're favourites for this one. There's 7 matches unbeaten coming into this one in all competitions, you know. They also head into this game off the back of that 4-0 thumping of Standard Liège in the Europa League on Thursday, so full of confidence. And interestingly, they won all 4 of their games against Bournemouth at the Emirates, and they've scored 13 goals in those as well. So it's been a fantastic run they've got against the Cherries on home soil. They've only conceded 2 goals as well in those 4 matches, so I've got to say Arsenal will win. What about Bournemouth then, Simon? I mean, yes, they did win comfortably, Arsenal, in midweek, but they've had that extra game. Bournemouth have had a whole week to prepare for this. Is that going to put them in good stead?
I think so, yeah. I'm not bothered about history, as James talks about. I'm more about the here and now. And Bournemouth have made a great start to the season. They're 8th in the table. They've had injuries, but some of those players are coming back now. They've got goal scorers in the team, and they've actually won 2 of their 3 away trips so far this season. So I'm seeing a new Bournemouth this season, a Bournemouth that can go away to pretty tough places and come away with 3 points.
And I have to say, I'm going to just edge towards Simon here because I really do fancy Bournemouth in this. As he says, they've looked far better away from home this season than usual. And I think the value bet there potentially is Bournemouth to win. Arsenal haven't always been great off the back of Europa League ties. And so that's why I'm going to edge towards Simon's argument. Let's look then now at potential player bets for this clash then at the Emirates. What are you looking at in terms of Arsenal, James?
Well, I've gone into the booking market for this one, and it's Granit Xhaka for Arsenal, to be quite honest. Now, he's 12-5 to be booked at any point in the game, which I think is massive value on that. He's already been cautioned 4 times this season. He's joint second in that in the Premier League in the yellow card stats, only behind Crystal Palace's Luka Milivojevic. And, he can be a bit of a rash character in midfield. We've already seen him give away a penalty this season as well. So 12-5 for Xhaka to be carded. I've got to go with that.
Simon, anything stand out for you for Bournemouth? They've scored plenty of goals this season.
Yeah, it should be a cracking clash with Jefferson Lerma in midfield, that Xhaka one. But I think goals. Callum Wilson, obviously, he's got 5 in his last 5 starts for Bournemouth. He's in great form. I was looking at his record away from home as well. He's actually scored more goals away from home than he has at the Vitality Stadium in the Premier League over the last 2 seasons. So I think Callum Wilson to score any time at about 23-10 if you can get that. That's a pretty good price.
OK, well, 2 very good suggestions, I have to say. I do fancy that Callum Wilson might get his name on the score sheet, but I'm just going to go with an edge towards James and Granit Xhaka, who seems to pick up yellow cards like confetti at the moment, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up in the referee's notebook again at the weekend. Let's turn our attention then to the big value bets and maybe outside tips that we've got for these for this game with these 2 teams, of course. Having one eye, potentially, you would think, on qualify for Europe next season. James, Arsenal, they've looked patchy at times so far this campaign. It wasn't a great performance against Manchester United last out, but as we've said before, at home they seem to be a different beast.
Yeah, at home they seem to be good. And in terms of a big price, it's not massively out there, this one. It's 11-5, but this is more sort of the long shot on whether Gabriel Martinelli will play in the game. Now, I've gone for Martinelli to score and Arsenal to win. That's 11-5. Now, you look at the Brazilian's recent record, 4 goals from his last 2 games. I mean, he's on absolute fire at the moment. Of course, Arsenal got a few injury problems up front with Alexandre Lacazette. So I think if Martinelli plays in this game, if he starts, I think that's a good chance for him to score and Arsenal to win.
I think it might be tempting for Unai Emery to throw him in and see if he can do it at Premier League level as well. What about Bournemouth? What stood out for you then in terms of a value bet, Simon?
I think just looking at the last year and a half of Bournemouth's away trips, you have to note the amount of goals that have been scored in those games. It's really remarkable, actually. Over 2.5 goals have landed in 26 of the last 35 Bournemouth away games, which shows you that Eddie Howe's got a real philosophy for going out and sort of being quite open on the road, sort of inviting teams on a little bit so they've got a bit of space to attack. So I think going for goals in this one, over 2.5 goals is pretty short at 4-11, but the stats are definitely with it. Maybe try over 3.5 goals with Arsenal's current defensive issues. I could easily see this one going over 3.5 goals at 17-20.
I think with the concerns over whether Martinelli will play, having played in midweek, I'm going to edge towards Simon again here because I do think there'll be plenty of goals. Arsenal look continually shaky at the back, you have to say, and Bournemouth have got goals and plenty, and they can't seem to keep a clean sheet either. So I'm going to hand this one to Simon, who wins 2-1 overall. Let us know your thoughts, of course, on social media about what we've suggested and what we've predicted for Sunday's game at the Emirates on our Twitter and on our Facebook pages. And of course, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.